You know what I forgot to completely talk about a couple weeks ago was the Olympics. Like, I don't know, I'm going to call it Heatgate, my podcast a couple weeks ago when the heat just got to me. I can't even think straight. It's so hot in here. I was like, I forgot to talk about the Olympics. And I'm anxious. The one guy that's funny to me in the Olympics is Noah Lyles, the sprinter. Like, I don't know whether I like him or I dislike him. Some days I'm like, God, I'm rooting for him. And the other days I'm like, is he just saying stuff just to stay in the news, or does he really mean it? You know, if everybody knows Noah Lyles, when he won the 100, and he goes to the Olympics and has COVID, gets third in the 200, but then they got him out there partying and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. Clearly nobody's scared of catching COVID anymore. And then, but he got big in 2023 when he goes, you know what bothers me the most? You know what I hate the most is the NBA when they call them world champions. World champions of what? America? Like, that's how he probably got more famous off that than anything he did running. But it translated into, I watched him every time he ran because of that soundbite. So he kind of knew what he was doing, but I'm telling you, I'm watching him run and I go, am I rooting for him or against him? Or do I want to win or don't I want to win? I couldn't tell. And then the other ones that got me, like, is it me or was the Olympic women overly attractive this year? Especially the United States women. I was like, Remember Flojo? Flojo was like super pretty. And not that the other girls were ugly, but she like just completely stood out back in the day. There were so many attractive sprinters. The 400, the 100, the hurdles. I was like, usually dudes watch the Olympics will watch volleyball because the shorts kept getting shorter and shorter and you were starting to see the bottom of the cheeks of the ass. But now this year, I mean, Brazil, what was that? Brazil, I thought would be in thongs by now. Their shorts were longer than I've ever seen. I go, what's going on in Brazil? What feminists got in somebody's ear and was like, no, we don't want to see that. Yeah. Just so you know, guys and a lot of girls, we want to see that ass when you're playing volleyball. Shorter the better. That's what we want. So I don't know who's trying to get them to go back to long shorts, but stop. We like to see, especially Brazil, we want to see them bottom cakes, baby. Them bottom cheeks. It keeps us tuned in. It's only going to give you more numbers. But I noticed that about the Olympics. I go, man, some really, really attractive women running this year. And it's funny, like, you're supposed to just root for the United States, like USA no matter what. But the more I travel, the more, like, I've finally been to Italy. I've been to Greece. Been to Guam. Been to Japan. Been to South Korea. Been to England. When you go to these different countries and then you come back to the United States and you realize we got it kind of good over here. We do. But I don't blindly root for the United States anymore like I used to. It used to be United States and nothing. And this goes for the World Cup. This goes for track. This goes for basketball, everything. It's like, now granted, I was rooting for the USA basketball team. I didn't want them to lose. Just because I know some guys on the team. And I didn't want USA to not be the gold medalist with that team stacked. Plus, I rooted for the USA so hard, really for LeBron, because screw the other players. If the USA wouldn't have won gold, it would have just been all these LeBron haters saying, see, that's why you can't compete with Jordan. Jordan would have won at 56. He would have carried him. I was like, all right, that argument's pointless. No Jordan or LeBron lover, hater no guy ever loves Jordan, ever got in discussion with a LeBron lover and change their mind, and vice versa. I've never seen a LeBron Jordan who's the greatest debate, and in the middle of they changed their mind and go, you know what? You're right. He was better than Jordan. You know what? You're right. He was better than LeBron. It's never happened in the history of those arguments, so they're pointless. But I think LeBron gets criticized unfairly, and there's no doubt if USA would have lost, it would have been all LeBron. It would have had nothing to do with Steph. It would have had nothing to do with Anthony Davis. Nothing to do with anybody else on that team. Anthony or Edwards, nothing. It would have been, this is LeBron's fault. See? And then LeBron, him and Steph just said, we're not having it. I don't care how far we're down. We're not having it. So I'm so glad they won the gold. So I was rooting for USA just really because of LeBron. If LeBron wasn't on it, I still would have rooted for him, but not as emotionally as I did. But the reason I was talking about World Cup and track and field, man, sometimes you find out that some of these poverty-stricken countries, you're just like, man, they're going home to nothing. And then USA's fine. Whether you get the gold or not, you're coming home. You're still going to have sponsors, still going to have endorsements and things like that. And you hear people like back in the day, Cuba and Nigeria, Nicaragua, things like that. Like there was one country I heard of. I was watching the World Cup, and I don't know if it was Nigeria or Kenya or something like that. It was one of them countries where literally if they won the World Cup, every player got a goat. That's it. A goat. That's it. You in the world. If the men soccer team ever won the World Cup, oh my God. Be so many endorsements. I remember in 94 when that team did halfway decent, we knew everybody on that team. They're still announcing. One guy I think the goalie got a trial with the Jets back in the day. And it was all because they did okay. They didn't even get to like the semifinals. They just did all right. But we all knew them, and they all made a ton of money because of it. And then, some of these other countries, I'm like, man, more than watching the Olympics, I like watching the backstories of most of the people. And that's usually how I dictate if I root for them. Like if they're just from a war-torn country. There was a javelin. Oh, what was the one guy? He was the first one to win from I think it was the javelin. Javelin 2024. First time ever his country won a gold medal. Yeah, here it is. Arshad Nadeem, Pakistan. Pakistan's first gold medal at Summer Olympics. Especially in the javelin. Was it the first ever Olympics in the gold medals? And they just said he picked it up one day and realized, he's got a talent for it. And then they like sponsored him. He got all these people so he could just focus on the javelin. And he does not look super athletic in person. I would have never picked him to win. And he was winging that javelin. So, yeah, it's, I'm just different the older I get, the more I'm more of a people person. And the more I travel, like I kind of was rooting for Greece in some things. I was rooting for Italy in some things because I've been there. I thoroughly enjoyed my time in that country. And I went to Greece, and the Olympics started the week after I left Greece. So I was low key rooting for the basketball team, not against the United States, but I was rooting for them. They got out early. But anytime I saw somebody from Greece or Italy, I was like, I've been there. I can root for him. And then you kind of know the towns they grew up in. Like he's from a small town right outside of Florence. I go, I've been to Florence. I wonder what town it was. I wonder if I drove through it. So it's just when you travel, you're not as like small-minded. Like I'm just rooting for them. So, yeah.